And I think it's very interesting, I think, when you look at this Premier League table as it is, and you can see Liverpool currently are fifth in the Premier League table. They're a point above Chelsea, who are in sixth. But Manchester United drawing yesterday against Bournemouth means they are 6 points ahead of Liverpool in the table. So a win for Arne Slot's men today would take them to within 3 points of Manchester United in third. Aston Villa a couple of points above them in fourth spot in the Premier League table. And as for Brighton, well, there's no question, I think, when you look at this Brighton side, when you look at the difficulties, really, that Brighton have had this season, it's absolutely going to be vital for them to continue their good momentum. In Brighton take place, they're 12th in the Premier League table as it is. Have better form of late. There were 3 wins in their last 4. They are on the magic 40 points. No question of them going down this season, you feel. And Fabian Herzler certainly came under some considerable pressure, really, very much from inside the football club and his own fan base, prior to that decent run of form when it looked like they were free-falling down the Premier League table. However, they've certainly steadied the ship of late. And Brighton Hove Albion now looking up rather than below them, and it is a very tightly congested Premier League table. And you look at the fact that Brentford are in 7th place in the Premier League table on 45 points, so just 5 above Brighton in the table. But Liverpool, who, well, it was a fabulous result, wasn't it, against Galatasaray in midweek. They'll be looking to boost their Premier League credentials this time around. It's been a really poor title defence, and Arne Slot in his pre-match comments made absolutely no excuses for that. But nonetheless, Liverpool must surely secure Champions League football to keep Arne Slot's job at the helm. Let's go through the 2 teams then. And for Fabian Herzler, it is the Bruyken in goal, the back 4 of Vifa, Van Hecke, Duncan, Kadioglu. Then James Milner playing against his former club. Partners Pascal Gross in the centre of the park. Then is Gomez, Hinshelwood and Minter behind Danny Welbeck up top. And for Liverpool, well, it's Mamardashvili in goal. No Alisson Becker today. Then it is Frimpong at right back. Then the 2 centre-backs are Kanate and Virgil van Dijk. Kirkes left back. Then Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister in the centre of the pitch. Then we think it's going to be Florian Wirtz on the right-hand side because Mo Salah, of course, is injured. Cody Gakpo on the left. And it will be Dominic Szoboszlai just sat in behind Hugo Ekitike. Of course, the ever-versatile Dominic Szoboszlai, who, well, it was another free kick, wasn't it, against Tottenham at the weekend, and then he scored against Galatasaray as well. I mean, he's been Liverpool's best player. There's no question about that this season. Very impressive indeed from Dominic Szoboszlai. Been a real bright spark in what has been a tricky campaign, to say the least, for Arne Slot's men. So it is Brighton against Liverpool on the south coast. Spring is very much in the air. And it's a beautiful backdrop if you've never visited this stadium, just by the university. There's rolling hills of the South Downs in the background, and barely a cloud in the sky today as well. And it's a big opportunity, you feel, I think, for Liverpool with Chelsea in that really poor run of form, which sees them in 6th in the Premier League table. And despite the English clubs not really doing very well in terms of the Champions League in midweek, and the likes of Chelsea being knocked out and Newcastle being knocked out and Manchester City being knocked out, very much the coefficient suggestion is that the top 5 in the Premier League will still qualify for the Champions League next season. So 5th place as it stands is Champions League football next season. Who will drop out of that cluster from Manchester United, Aston Villa, Liverpool and Chelsea? Well, certainly on current form, you would suggest that Chelsea are really fading quite fast. They will need to turn it round with Liam Rosenior, no question about that. How will Liverpool cope without Mo Salah today? It's going to be very interesting indeed to see how that one progresses and just how serious the injury is. In terms of the subs, well, for Brighton, you've got Ayari, Boskakli, Cooper, and then Kostulas, Mitoma, Baleba, Ruta, Steele and Veltman. And then it's Chiesa, Gomez, Jones, Morrison, Rio and Gamoa has been a really bright spark of late. Naoni, Ramsey, Robertson and Woodman. So pretty youthful-looking bench. It is Darren England as the official, and we are moments away from kick-off here at the Amex on the south coast. The pitch just about 1/3 bathed in shade and 2/3 in beautiful sunshine. And it will be Arne Slot's men to get us up and underway. And it's a big contest, this, and a really big opportunity. And Dominic Szoboszlai immediately with the rugby-style kick-off from the off, just chipping the ball towards the corner flag to apply a little bit of additional pressure on the Brighton backline from the off. It's been something we've seen in the Champions League this season, something we've seen in the Premier League, and it's a very interesting addition, really, in terms of tactically what teams feel like they benefit from that kind of situation. Brighton with a throw-in on the left-hand side. The touch is from Ryan Gravenberch towards the boss line. Dominic Szoboszlai just feeds it in towards Alexis McAllister. And Ryan Gravenberch inside the Brighton half goes right-hand side for Szoboszlai. Ball just squirms loose for Florian Wirtz. And the touch from Alexis McAllister, and Cody Gakpo was in there, so too Szoboszlai on the right-hand side. And he goes back to Jeremy Frimpong, who in turn just feeds it 5 yards inside to Ibrahima Konate. Ibrahima Konate goes down the line now, looking for Jeremy Frimpong, and then Ryan Gravenberch switches the play left-hand side for Kerkez. And Milos Kerkez, the Hungarian, to Hugo Ekitike, turns it infield towards Milos Kerkez once again. He's by the corner flag now as Milos Kerkez goes down. It's not a free kick. And Ben Hacker just, well, he just remonstrates with Milos Kerkez. I don't think, in fairness to Kerkez, he was actually legitimately appealing for anything. And so the ball just squirms out of play. And Arne Slot has a wry smile on the touchline. And so it is Brighton and Hove Albion 0, Liverpool 0 at the Amex this afternoon. And it is less than 2 minutes on the clock. And the ball just squirms up towards halfway. And Dominic Szoboszlai is down clutching his face. And that is why the referee has indeed stopped the game, because that goes down as a head injury. And Arne Slot's not happy with one or two things. And he's in a blue zip jacket today. And he's remonstrating with the fourth official. And Dominic Szoboszlai against James Milner, whose left arm was up against Szoboszlai. And, well, the left arm does go into the side of Dominic Szoboszlai, but I don't think there's any malice there from James Milner. And it's hoisted forwards now towards Danny Welbeck. But Liverpool win the ball back, and Dominic Szoboszlai has it deep inside his own half. And he finds Jeremy Frimpong, and Frimpong goes back to the Georgian Mamardashvili. Now Mamardashvili just scoops it up towards halfway, and Ekitike is there. And Hugo Ekitike does gather, and he feeds it to Florian Wirtz. And Florian Wirtz has the option right-hand side of Dominic Szoboszlai, who does appear to be Szoboszlai on that right-hand side. It is Florian Wirtz now who tried to feed it into the penalty area. Couldn't quite find Cody Gakpo, and it's out of play now for a throw-in. But worryingly for Liverpool, Hugo Ekitike is down, and he is clutching his left leg. It was James Milner again biting into the challenge, and Hugo Ekitike is in some discomfort here. He's clutching his left leg. I'm not sure he's going to be able to continue, Hugo Ekitike. Well, he looks in real pain inside 3 minutes, and there's a shake of the head from Ekitike. He's clutching the top of his left leg. I wonder if it's just a dead leg or if James Milner's actually caught him, but, well, it looked like impact more than anything else. It's not a malicious challenge by James Milner. It's more contact than anything else, really. And so the boos and whistles echo around the Amex, and Ekitike's still down, and he really felt that one, did Hugo Ekitike. Darren England is overseeing the situation. Ekitike now finally getting onto his knees and receiving a little bit of treatment from the physio. And so Hugo Ekitike, well, he's still moving very gingerly, and he's down. And I think he might have done something to his hip or his left knee here, Ekitike. The physio is on, giving him treatment. I mean, the options for Liverpool on the bench, by the way, are very limited indeed, really, in terms of striking options. I mean, obviously you've got Chiesa who could come on. Rio Nkamoa would be the obvious one. You could shimmy things around and bring Curtis Jones on, but certainly Arne Slot will be hoping that this is not the end of Hugo Ekitike's early afternoon. So it is Brighton 0, Liverpool 0 the score, and Curtis Jones is the player who is warming up. If that was to happen, possibly see Cody Gakpo be played through the middle. The other option, of course, would be Rio Nkamoa left-hand side and Cody Gakpo through the middle. I mean, Ekitike's, he's shaking his head. I don't think he can continue here, Hugo Ekitike. He is shaking his head. He is walking off, you would say that. The Frenchman looks in real discomfort, and he's walking off the pitch, but very, very gingerly indeed. Curtis Jones looks like the man who would potentially come on, so that might see Curtis Jones go to the left-hand side and Cody Gakpo through the middle. Rio Nkamoa has still got his training jacket on, so I think the change is going to be, if it is going to happen, Curtis Jones for Hugo Ekitike. And Ekitike now moving a little bit better, still clutching that left leg, and Ekitike is off the pitch, so Liverpool are playing temporarily with 10 men. And Florian Wirtz does gather and finds Milos Kerkez. And Kerkez back to Virgil van Dijk, to Kerkez. And now Virgil van Dijk again. And Virgil van Dijk goes right-hand side to Konate. And Konate just shimmies past his man with ease. And then Konate clips it over the top. He's looking for Cody Gakpo and finds, well, very nearly finds Cody Gakpo. But James Milner is there to mop up and put the ball out of play. And so it's going to be a throw-in now for Liverpool on the left-hand side. The 10 men of Liverpool temporarily, because Cody Gakpo is, well, Hugo Ekitike's back on the field of play. He's still not moving as he would like, not a bit of it, but Liverpool are in possession and Liverpool do have 11 men on the pitch. Virgil van Dijk scoops it forwards now, looking for Cody Gakpo, flicked on towards Alexis McAllister, and Ekitike hasn't touched the ball yet since coming back on. 6 minutes on the clock. Brighton 0, Liverpool 0 is indeed the score, and Ekitike is still moving around as though he doesn't really want to continue here. I mean, he definitely felt something on that left-hand side of his thigh. And I wonder if Liverpool are going to be forced into a change. Ekitike's down on the turf. I mean, he can't carry on here. There's a shake of the head. Ekitike knows it. Left-hand side, shake of the head. Something with his hip, I think, maybe. And Ekitike's afternoon is over. And so Curtis Jones is going to come on, I think, in his place. So I think that's going to mean, well, Curtis Jones is going to come on, and I imagine Curtis Jones is going to go left-hand side now, and Cody Gakpo is going to play through the middle. I think Szoboszlai was more or less playing on the right-hand side, and Ekitike looks close to tears here. And I wonder if he knows that his World Cup might be in doubt, you know, because the player usually knows, and the reaction of the player will tell you everything you need to know. And straight away, as soon as that happened, Ekitike was punching the turf, and, well, there's tears in his eyes. And Hugo Ekitike might know a little bit more than the physio here about the severity of this injury, because Ekitike is coming off, Curtis Jones is coming on, and Ekitike is walking straight down the tunnel, and I think he's in trouble here, Ekitike. He's wiping away the tears from his face. I think he's done something to that left hip, possibly the left knee. Either way, Curtis Jones is on, so an early enforced change for Liverpool. And, well, we'll wait to see how this lines up. It looks as though at the moment, Szoboszlai is on the right-hand side. Florian Wirtz is possibly playing as the false 9. Or is Gakpo playing through the middle? Well, they've had to reshuffle, obviously. Well, Curtis Jones has gone to the left-hand side. So Curtis Jones has taken Gakpo's place, and Cody Gakpo is playing through the middle. And it is now Florian Wirtz who has the ball on the right-hand side for Liverpool. And Florian Wirtz just cuts it infield towards Dominic Szoboszlai. And Szoboszlai now 35 yards from goal to Ryan Gravenberch. And Ryan Gravenberch now to Ibrahima Konate. Konate right-hand side for Florian Wirtz again. And Dominic Szoboszlai just pokes it forward towards Alexis McAllister. And here is Florian Wirtz round the corner to Jeremy Frimpong. Frimpong has the ball, he feeds it to Florian Wirtz inside the penalty area. Now it's Jeremy Frimpong. Still Frimpong has it, feeds it back to Szoboszlai, who just led back and lifts it over the crossbar from inside the penalty area. Half decent position that, though, for Dominic Szoboszlai, actually, because Frimpong and Wirtz did well to combine on that right-hand side. And when they did, the ball was eventually laid back to Dominic Szoboszlai, who's been in fabulous form this season. And so it is launched forward now, and now Milos Kerkez is the man who's limping away for the situation. Well, the game's come thick and fast this time of year, and certainly when you look at Liverpool's fixtures in April, when you've got the FA Cup and you've got those 2 legs against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, could cause problems. Here's Dominic Szoboszlai inside the centre circle, goes for goal, tries to lob it over the goalkeeper, but that's catching practice really in the end. It was a nice enough idea actually for Brugge, was never trouble, but Szoboszlai, when you're in that kind of form, I guess you're going to take everything on, aren't you? So it is Liverpool who've seen more of the ball, and, well, one bright spark for Liverpool, you'd say, not in the context of this game, but in general, is that Alexander Isak is expected to be back after the March international break. So that might give a little bit of respite for Arne Slot, as Brighton have the ball now just outside the centre circle. And they have it now approaching halfway. Milner was the option inside. Goes right-hand side now, and Brighton are working the ball pretty neatly. Could be a chance now, but Florian Wirtz and then Curtis Jones, and Florian Wirtz once more gather possession. Florian Wirtz is 40 yards from goal. He's got the run of Cody Gakpo through the middle. Will Cody Gakpo get there? He won't, because Florian Wirtz has overcooked the pass. And Cody Gakpo with a heavy bandaging on that right arm. Couldn't quite get onto the end of it. And now it's Minter on the left-hand side for Brighton, hoisted into the penalty area. But Mamardashvili, just outside his 6-yard box, will collect. And Mamardashvili in the sunshine will roll it out now left-hand side for Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk, the Dutchman, who's had a difficult season. There's absolutely no question about that. It's been a difficult season for Liverpool in general, of course, with a few bright sparks, one of which being Hugo Ekitike, as Florian Wirtz does gather now. Florian Wirtz is playing a lot more on the right-hand side, and he now scoops it left-hand side to Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo's inside the penalty area. The back heel is out for a corner kick for Liverpool on the left-hand side. And it's quite a fluid front line, I think, really, for Liverpool, because Florian Wirtz, who was initially playing in behind Hugo Ekitike, has sort of drifted to the right-hand side a little bit, and Szoboszlai has drifted in. So quite a fluid system up front for Liverpool, especially now Hugo Ekitike is off injured. In terms of that April I mentioned, that will be really jam-packed across the board in terms of football on the continent and domestically. But it's going to be very busy indeed for Liverpool. But here is the corner kick for Arne Slot's men with 12 minutes on the clock from the left-hand side. And a chance now for Liverpool to get the ball into the penalty area. So the corner kick to be taken from the left. It is going to be taken on the left-hand side, but the sun's shining for Bruggen's eyes a little bit. Dominic Szoboszlai right-footed sweeps in the corner kick. Can't beat the first man. And it's going to be a throw-in for Liverpool on the left flank, and Virgil van Dijk's got a little smile on his face. He feels as though there's some pushing and shoving inside the area. Curtis Jones, who came on as a substitute for Hugo Ekitike, has it 40 yards from goal, and he tries to find Jeremy Frimpong, but he's overcooked the pass there, Curtis Jones. Not particularly impressive, and it's out of play for a throw-in for Brighton right on halfway. And I mentioned the fixtures that Liverpool do have in April, and after the international break on Saturday the 4th of April, they are away to Manchester City in the FA Cup quarter-final. I mean, that's a big old clash, isn't it? And then they're away against Paris Saint-Germain 4 days later in the Champions League. Then they're home against Fulham in the Premier League. Then home against Paris Saint-Germain. And then they are away at Everton in the Merseyside derby. And they finish it by playing Crystal Palace at home on the 25th of April. So what a big month that is for Liverpool. Still plenty to play for this season. The run-in is actually really difficult for Liverpool in terms of the Premier League, because they're away at Man United. Then they're home against Chelsea, away at Aston Villa, and they finish the season on Sunday the 24th of May, home to Brentford. So Brighton have possession just outside the penalty on the left-hand side. It's scooped in towards the back post. It's kept alive too, and Danny Welbeck is there, and Brighton take the lead inside 14 minutes. And it's Danny Welbeck who nods home from close range, and the former Manchester United man scores against Liverpool at the Amex, and it's Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Liverpool 0. Well, to be fair, Liverpool have really held their own in terms of possession and early opportunities in the game. But it was just a ball looped into the penalty area. Mamardashvili is glaring at the referee. Don't think there was anything wrong with the goal. I think it's going to stand. And Danny Welbeck, with a clenched fist, wheels away in celebration. It was just Route 1 stuff, really, from the throw. Clipped in towards the back post. It was neatly done. And it was Milos Kerkez, I think, who maybe lost his man. Kept alive by Gomez. And Danny Welbeck at the back post just nods it home for 1-0. Simple as you like. Well, Arne Slot will be so frustrated, because it's a free header for Gomez. He's shaken off Kerkez at the back post, and then Danny Welbeck out jumps Ibrahim Konate. He's 4 yards out. It's Brighton 1, Liverpool 0, and that is a simple goal. Konate's claiming there was a touch on the back. There wasn't really from Danny Welbeck, and Brighton have the lead. Well, Mamardashvili looks on. I mean, it's two defensive errors really from Liverpool. First of all, Milos Kerkez can't get anywhere near Gomez, and then Ibrahim Konate just doesn't really compete with Danny Welbeck back there. And so it could be a chance now for Liverpool, and Cody Gakpo's clean through. It's Cody Gakpo. Will it break now for Curtis Jones? No, it won't. And Gomez will pick up the pieces and feed it down the line. And it's going to trickle out of play for a throw-in for Liverpool. It was Cody Gakpo who wanted to take that on his right boot. Might have been better suited going with his left. They're trying to feed Kirkes in on the left-hand side in the area. Couldn't quite do it, though, and Liverpool and Florian Wirtz have the ball through Alex McAllister. And now Dominic Szoboszlai's put the ball out of play, has he? Yes, he has. And Frimpong couldn't get there. And the stray passes are incoming, really, from Liverpool. And Danny Welbeck's goal separates the two sides at the 17-minute mark. Well, it all came, really, because Mamardashvili's pass caught out Konate, went out of play for a Brighton throw. Then it was clipped in towards Gomez, who won a free header against Kirkes, and Danny Welbeck just nodded at home, and Konate was nowhere. It's a really poor goal defensively. Brighton will be absolutely delighted, make no mistake about it, as the ball is floated in towards Danny Welbeck again. Will it come back for Danny Welbeck? No, it won't, because Dominic Szoboszlai is going to smash it away. And it's been a game so far that has been full of errors, really, from a Liverpool perspective. One big moment in terms of the goal from Danny Welbeck, another big moment in terms of the injury for Hugo Ekitike. And whilst we don't know exactly what the injury was, and it didn't appear to be too much contact from James Milner on Ekitike, reaction of the player was very worrying indeed, because he could barely move, Ekitike, and he was close to tears as he came off, as if he knew that his season might be over. So it's Brighton 1, Liverpool 0 at the Amex. Fabian Hürzeler in the jacket, because while it is a sunny day, it is it is a chilly afternoon. It is now Frimpong who has the ball, and he finds Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai now to Jeremy Frimpong, and Frimpong back to Konate, and Konate inside the centre circle finds Alex McAllister. It's a really good turn from Alex McAllister, and here comes Jeremy Frimpong on the burst on that right-hand side. Frimpong will get there first, will he? No, he won't. And Brighton play out from the back. And Minte, who is no slouch either, matched Jeremy Frimpong, the Dutchman, stride for stride for pace. And Mamardashvili now has it, and he just left-footed wedges the ball forwards, but to no one in particular. And it is Cody Gakpo through the middle. It's Curtis Jones on the left, and then Szoboszlai and Florian Wirtz. Well, it's more or less Wirtz on the right-hand side of that front three, and Szoboszlai just tucked in behind Cody Gakpo, but it is very fluid indeed. And in fact, now Alex McAllister is playing as the higher up member of that midfield three, with Szoboszlai and Gravenberch, the two sitting midfielders. So Arne Slot is looking rather concerned on the touchline. Liverpool have had 57% possession in the game so far, but they trail by a goal to nil. That goal scored by Danny Welbeck, and a simple goal it was as well, with Gomez with the assist as Virgil van Dijk slices his clearance away. Out of play for a throw-in for Brighton and Hove Albion right on the halfway line. And so it is Brighton 1, Liverpool 0 as it stands. And Brighton have the ball at the back, and around about half the Amex now is in sunshine and half in shade, just past 1 o'clock local time in the UK. And Brighton are in possession now on the left-hand side. And, well, one thing you would say about this Brighton Hove Albion side, you mentioned the poor results, really, that took place the back end of last year and then January as well. Much more solid, much more defensive solidity about their team in the last month or so, and they've certainly got the results to match it as well. So Brighton do have the ball, leading as they do by a goal to nil. That goal scored by Danny Welbeck, collected now by Gomez on the right flank, who's just drifting infield now, Gomez. And Gomez feeds it left-hand side. Everyone behind the ball now for Liverpool, including Cody Gakpo, who's now playing as the central striker. And it's wedged now into the penalty area, and the header was from Gomez that's gone over the crossbar. And once again, Liverpool looking rather vulnerable indeed when the ball is lifted into the box. That is how the goal emerged. And Gomez, in fairness to him, this one was a difficult technique because it was just above him almost. He was stretched to make any kind of contact on it. He was leaning backwards as well. And it skims off the Paraguayan's head. And out of play for a goal kick for Liverpool, which Mamardashvili smashes towards Cody Gakpo. And Florian Wirtz takes the ball down inside the centre circle and goes left-hand side for Milos Kerkez. And Milos Kerkez now trying to find Florian Wirtz. And Brighton, though, with Van Hecke, managed to clear it, but it is out of play for a Liverpool throw on the left-hand side. And so Curtis Jones will collect. And it is now gathered by Ryan Gravenberch midway inside the Brighton half. Brighton leading by a goal to nil. Florian Wirtz inside the centre circle. And Florian Wirtz now to Alex McAllister. And then Wirtz again. And Wirtz just wedges it right-hand side now looking for Jeremy Frimpong. And Frimpong has it on the right-hand side. And Jeremy Frimpong's got Dominic Szoboszlai in support. Szoboszlai's ball in towards Alexis McAllister. It's a really good save that from Verbruggen, because Alexis McAllister's header extracts a very decent save from Verbruggen to his left-hand side, and he did very well indeed, the goalkeeper. We've seen Alex McAllister in decent goal-scoring form this year, you know, and Verbruggen had to get down low and get down well, and he did just that to prevent Alexis McAllister from equalising for Liverpool. So Dominic Szoboszlai now will take the corner kick, and it's a corner kick on the right-hand side. And Szoboszlai tries to float it up towards Virgil van Dijk, who does keep it alive. Curtis Jones is underneath it as well. And is it going to drop now for a Liverpool player? No, it's not. Although Dominic Szoboszlai will, in fact, pick up the pieces. And Liverpool will seek to come again. So they have the ball on the left-hand side with Milos Kerkez, the Hungarian. Milos Kerkez, who's been much improved of late as well, feeds it in towards the Argentine World Cup winner Alexis McAllister, who rolls it cleverly now in towards Ryan Gravenberch, and Ryan Gravenberch drops the shoulder just outside the area, free kick, and it's a free kick in Dominic Szoboszlai territory. No question about that. Szoboszlai, who's been absolutely prolific from free kicks this season. So it will be Dominic Szoboszlai to take it. Well, he's scored 4 Premier League free kicks this season, Dominic Szoboszlai. There's only one player in Premier League history to score more than that in a Premier League season. I'll leave you thinking on that and give you the answer momentarily. Blue skies in and around the Amex then, as Liverpool are trailing by a goal to nil. The goal scored by Danny Welbeck for Brighton & Hove Albion. That is the moment that currently separates the two sides. Hugo Ekitike also off injured for Liverpool. Those are the major events if you're just joining us on the South Coast. Dominic Szoboszlai to take the free kick then. And it's bang central really. And it's 5 yards outside the penalty area. Hinshelwood offering the horizontal option in the wall. And there's 5 vertical. And there's a 3-man Liverpool wall in front of that. What's Szoboszlai going to do? Dominic Szoboszlai, the Hungarian. So dangerous from set-piece situations. 4 Premier League free kicks already this season he's scored from. It will be Dominic Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai over the wall and over the frame of the goal as well. Just couldn't get it up and down, Szoboszlai. And I think Verbruggen will be very relieved indeed. I mean, you could argue the one against Tottenham last weekend was a goalkeeping error because Vicario got gloves to it. And interestingly, really, with Dominic Szoboszlai, I mean, sometimes he needs it to be a little bit further out so he can get it up and down. When it's that tight to goal, often difficult because you've got to go through the wall. So it is Curtis Jones who will take the throw. Milos Kerkez actually takes the ball off him. And Curtis Jones does collect. Curtis Jones finds Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk deep inside his own half finds Curtis Jones, the substitute. Curtis Jones feeds it in towards Cody Gakpo, rides one challenge, neatly done by Cody Gakpo. What's he got in terms of options? Gakpo nearly came for Alexis McAllister, and it's going to be a free kick. This one might be a little bit too far out for Dominic Szoboszlai to strike. Minter is going into the referee's notebook. Darren England saw something he didn't like there in terms of the challenge, and Minter does go steaming in, and the studs are up, you know, against Cody Gakpo, and that is why the yellow card's been given. And it will be another free kick. This one is probably more in kind of Arsenal and Man City territory in terms of the goals that Szoboszlai has scored from this season in terms of distance. It's just to the left of centre. Might be a little bit too far out for the striker goal, but when you've got the confidence of Dominic Szoboszlai, is he going to fancy it? I mean, he's 35 yards from goal. It's a long way out, and it's going to be a cross. Szoboszlai just scoops it up towards Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk keeps it alive towards Milos Kerkez, and it's out of play for a corner. Lewis Dunk was there to nod it over the crossbar, and so it is a corner kick now for Liverpool, and a corner kick which Szoboszlai is going to take. Virgil van Dijk and Konate providing the height inside the penalty area. C2, Ryan Gravenberch and Curtis Jones as well. And so Szoboszlai is going to take the corner kick here. Right-footed, on the right-hand side. It's an outswinger towards Virgil van Dijk, who keeps it alive, but very easy for Brighton Hove Albion to clear that. And now Jeremy Frimpong gets a touch on it, and Florian Wirtz as well, and now Szoboszlai. And Dominic Szoboszlai has Konate in support, but instead he goes backwards towards his fellow Hungarian Milos Kerkez, and Ryan Gravenberch has the ball, but there's a man down here, and it's Ibrahima Konate who is down, and Minter, well, it's Jeremy Frimpong actually who's down, and it was Minter who has already been yellow carded, who went steaming in, and in fairness I don't think it's a second yellow. I mean, he just makes contact with Jeremy Frimpong. He tries to pull out of the challenge, and Frimpong, his momentum really takes him into the air and makes him land rather awkwardly. But when you're on a yellow card, you do have to be careful with those kind of situations, don't you? So it is Ryan Gravenberch who has the ball, and he goes left-hand side now for Virgil van Dijk. And Virgil van Dijk in towards Gravenberch. And Gravenberch striding forwards, and he looked for Milos Kerkez, couldn't quite find him. And the ball just squirms out of play for a throw-in on the left-hand side for Curtis Jones. And Curtis Jones then to Virgil van Dijk. And Virgil van Dijk, right-footed, rakes it right-hand side looking for Jeremy Frimpong. And the ball is out of play now. And Frimpong with the throw to Dominic Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai to Ryan Gravenberch, and Szoboszlai now back to Ibrahima Konate. Konate forwards towards Florian Wirtz, and Florian Wirtz back in towards Konate. All of this inside the Brighton half, and Wirtz right-hand side now finds Dominic Szoboszlai, and Szoboszlai just creeping forwards now to Virgil van Dijk, and Virgil van Dijk fits in field towards Alex McAllister, rolls it right-hand side now to Ibrahima Konate, and Ibrahima Konate now goes in field towards Ryan Gravenberch, and Ryan Gravenberch to Alexis McAllister. And Alexis McAllister was looking for the run of Curtis Jones. Is he going to find him? He very nearly did, and that'll be a corner kick for Liverpool on the right-hand side. There was an important touch on that. Alexis McAllister, who just wedged the ball over the back of the Brighton back line for the on-running Curtis Jones. And it's a corner in the end because Kadioglu's touch takes it behind. So Dominic Szoboszlai now will take the corner kick. Corner kick on the right flank now, which is helped towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Comes back now to Jeremy Frimpong, and Frimpong goes all the way back to Mamardashvili. Mamardashvili left-footed, smashes it forward, and Dunk just nods it back towards his own goalkeeper, but there was Milos Kerkez who scored for Liverpool, and Kerkez wants the ball back, and it's a horrific error really at the back from Lewis Dunk, and Milos Kerkez read the situation, clips it past the goalkeeper, and it's Brighton Hove Albion 1, Liverpool 1. Well, Milos Kerkez is pumped up, but really it's an error at the back from Brighton Hove Albion. It's Mamardashvili who clipped it long, and Dunk just tried to nod the ball back to his goalkeeper, and Milos Kerkez poked it over the keeper. It's a really good finish, actually, from the Hungarian. And the left back just floats it over Verbruggen and into the back of the net, and it's an absolute gift, and it's Brighton 1, Liverpool 1. It was a defensive error at the back from Brighton Hove Albion, just as it was a defensive error that allowed Brighton to open the scoring through Danny Welbeck. And it was Milos Kerkez who was alive when nobody else was, and Lewis Dunk tried to just glance the ball back to his goalkeeper, couldn't do so. And, well, he got contact on it, Lewis Dunk, but he just wasn't aware of the run of Milos Kerkez, who had anticipated how the game and the moment was going to develop, really. And now there's an opportunity for Alexis Mac Allister, but Brighton have it back and James Milner's in possession. James Milner helps it forwards now. Danny Welbeck and Minter are the two runners, and there could be a chance now for Kadioglu inside the area. Kadioglu on his right boot feeds it into the penalty area towards Gomez, and Gomez now on the right flank against Kerkez, and he now pokes it back for James Milner, and James Milner tries to help it forwards and does, but Milos Kerkez is there, and then Florian Wirtz does gather, and Florian Wirtz sees the ball come back to him, doesn't have too much in the way of options, Florian Wirtz, and he's given the ball straight back to Brighton Hove Albion, and here's a chance for Gomez on the right hand side, and Gomez just feeds the ball into the penalty area, and Wirtz now will collect, and now Wirtz will properly clear, and well, he should have properly cleared, instead he gives it straight to back to Brighton and Hove Albion. So Milos Kerkez with the goal. The 22-year-old scores his second goal of the Premier League season, his second goal for Liverpool. And now the effort on goal just fizzes over the crossbar from Hinshelwood, never really troubling Georgian Mamardashvili. And for Bournemouth last season, Milos Kerkez did get a couple of goals in 41 games. He's now got 2 in 39 for Liverpool. It's a really good moment that for Milos Kerkez in a Liverpool shirt. He'll be delighted with that moment, no question about it. So it is Brighton 1, Liverpool 1. Danny Welbeck giving Brighton Hove Albion the lead, and then the equalising goal from Milos Kerkez, although another major moment in the game came when Hugo Ekitike went off injured early on. Big blow that for Liverpool. I mean, the only saving grace really is the fact that it's now 2 weeks before the next Premier League game, because of course we have the March international break, and Liverpool don't play again until the 4th of April, which is in 2 weeks' time, and that is the cup tie against Manchester City. And there is some feeling within the football club that Alexander Isak isn't too far away from being fit again. So if Ekitike is out for a while, that'd be a very welcome boost, wouldn't it, for Isak to be back involved. It is now Brighton who have the ball on the right-hand side, and Hinshelwood trying to feed it forward, and Milos Kerkez blocks it off. And Ekitike is now back on the bench for Liverpool. And Ekitike is still grimacing somewhat, obviously frustrated with the injury that has curtailed his involvement in this game. Van Hekken now has it for Brighton Hove Albion. Feeds it left-hand side now. And here come Brighton once again, and it is Minter down the left-hand side against Frimpong, and he cuts inside. Frimpong wants a free kick. He's never going to get a free kick for that, and Szoboszlai keeps it in play on the right-hand side, and he finds Alexis Mac Allister. Alexis Mac Allister now tries to squeeze between two, can't do so, and it is Brighton who have it through James Milner on the left-hand side, just to the left of centre. Hinshelwood with the touch to Kadioglu. Kadioglu goes down the line, and now, well, Minto's on a yellow card. Needs to be careful because he threw himself on the turf there. And, well, Arne Slot's saying it's a dive and Minter should be off. And when you see the replay on the monitors here, I think he's got a pretty decent point. Hoisted forward towards the halfway line, and Alexis Mac Allister wins the header. Then Frimpong will mop up and feeds it down the line. Kadioglu now gathers just shy of the halfway line to the left of centre for Brighton Hove Albion. 34 minutes play. Brighton 1, Liverpool 1 is the score. And Kadioglu feeds it down the line now towards James Milner. James Milner in field towards Minte. And it's back inside now towards Lewis Dunk, whose error led towards the Liverpool equalising goal, which was scored by Milos Kerkez, his second goal of the season, his second goal in Liverpool colours. And now it is Verbruggen who feeds it right-hand side, and Brighton trying to build up from the back once again. And they have it now through Verbruggen. Verbruggen goes right flank to, well, back to his goalkeeper again. And now Danny Welbeck intervenes, and all of a sudden Brighton now look a little bit livelier. And it's hoisted to the right-hand side, but Jeremy Frimpong is underneath it against Minter. And that is going to be a throw-in for Brighton on the left-hand side in the sunshine. Kadioglu does gather. Kadioglu now to Danny Welbeck. And Danny Welbeck has the option of James Milner just 5 yards behind him. Now a chance for Lewis Dunk to come forwards, but James Milner will regather, and James Milner goes left-hand side for Minter. And Minter feeds it inside towards Kadioglu. Kadioglu now right flank to Gomez. And Gomez, who set up the opening goal for Danny Welbeck, feeds it back in field towards James Milner. And James Milner now goes back in field towards, well, it's Van Hecke. And Brighton will come out from the back, and inside the centre circle they have it once more. Now scooped left-hand side, and it's collected by Minte. And now Brighton have it once more, just outside the centre circle. Here they come again as Lewis Dunk does collect. And Lewis Dunk feeds it forwards now, left-hand side. And will that be kept alive by Kadioglu? Yes, it will be, but Frimpong is there, but Kadioglu wins the physical battle. And so it is now Kadioglu who feeds it into the penalty area. Ibrahima Konate was there, then the effort on goal is sliced wide of the upright by Pascal Gross. And so it remains Brighton 1, Liverpool 1 on the south coast. So Mamardashvili feeds it to Alexis McAllister. Alexis McAllister now to Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk back to Mamardashvili. Mamardashvili scoops it forwards now to James Milner. And James Milner gives it away, and Dominic Szoboszlai is looking for runners. He can only find Florian Wirtz. And Wirtz round the corner for Jeremy Frimpong. And Frimpong might fancy the foot race here against Kadioglu, but instead goes back infield towards Dominic Szoboszlai. And Dominic Szoboszlai right on halfway, who's sitting a little bit deeper, so it is the Gravenberch-Szoboszlai axis defensively, and Alex McAllister is the one of that midfield three that's pushed higher up. Van Hecke now gathers, and Van Hecke feeds it down the line, but both sides exchanging possession very freely indeed. So it's gathered now by Brighton on the right-hand side. Lewis Dunk does gather now, and it is Brighton who are in possession. Brighton have it right-hand side. It's kept alive by Danny Welbeck, and then Milos Kerkez is there, but Milos Kerkez is indeed penalised, and so it is a free kick for Brighton and Hove Albion. Liverpool throw, though, on the right-hand side. Arne Slot has just not stopped talking to the fourth official on the touchline throughout the entirety of the game, as Mamardashvili miscues the clearance, but Frimpong is back to alleviate the danger, and that's out of play for a goal kick. And so Mamardashvili will take the goal kick. Signed from Valencia to be Alisson's number 2, really, but it's going to be interesting to see whether Alisson does sign a new contract at the football club, and one or two reports that he might go back to Brazil. It's a clever turn inside the penalty area from Minter, but he's never going to get a free kick for that. There's a couple of occasions now that Minter's hit the deck a little bit too softly for the Liverpool players' liking. Brighton over Albion 1, Liverpool 1 is the score. 5 minutes to play before half-time. I imagine there'll be a little bit more of that as well because of the injury for Hugo Ekitike, and Kerkez is now limping around the pitch a little bit. Obviously, Andy Robertson would be the option to replace him. And Virgil van Dijk is going to take the goal kick, and he goes back to Mamardashvili. Mamardashvili scoops it up towards the halfway line and tries to find Milos Kerkez. Lex McAllister does gather, now collected by Florian Wirtz, and Florian Wirtz goes right hand side now to Frimpong, and he's got the option of Curtis Jones in support, and it is now Curtis Jones, and Curtis Jones finds Frimpong again on the right hand side. Is he going to cross the ball into the box? No, he's going to feed it back to Curtis Jones, and Curtis Jones drifting infields, and he finds Ibrahim Konate. Konate then to Alex McAllister. Alex McAllister to Milos Kerkez. And Milos Kerkez to Cody Gakpo. And Cody Gakpo gliding infield once more. And rise the challenge is Cody Gakpo, and now finds Ryan Gravenberch 35 yards from goal. Gravenberch twisting and turning. It's Gravenberch now to Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones to Jeremy Frimpong. 2 yards in for the touchline on the right flank. It's Jeremy Frimpong back towards Curtis Jones just outside the area. Now Alexis McAllister gathers, and he finds Virgil van Dijk. And Virgil van Dijk to Kerkez. Kerkez into Dominic Szoboszlai. And now Alexis McAllister in towards Curtis Jones. And Curtis Jones has got the option of Frimpong in support. Finds Jeremy Frimpong. It is Jeremy Frimpong now for Liverpool. He's got Curtis Jones with him on the right-hand side, but Frimpong manages to squirm away. How's the cross? Stabs it up into the area. And, well, Lewis Dunk's not having a good afternoon at all. He just tried to chest that back to his goalkeeper, Verbruggen, and he's put it out of play for a Liverpool corner. It was a nice enough idea, but it was a little bit risky inside his own 6-yard box. And it's out of play for a corner kick for Liverpool on the right-hand side. So Dominic Szoboszlai will take it. Liverpool's 5th corner kick off this match on the right-hand side. And so it will be a corner kick now for Liverpool on the right-hand side. Szoboszlai flicks it in. And Curtis Jones is there, and Konate as well. But eventually it's stabbed away and out of play for a throw for Liverpool on the right flank. And now Szoboszlai to Florian Wirtz, and then Szoboszlai once more and Curtis Jones. And Curtis Jones back to Jeremy Frimpong, and he finds Florian Wirtz. Nice turn by Ryan Gravenberch, and Ryan Gravenberch's got support on the left-hand side. Ryan Gravenberch tries to find Virgil van Dijk and does, and Dunk was there, and it's going to be gathered now by Verbruggen. And Verbruggen, the goalkeeper, does collect. And so it will be Verbruggen to wheel it out. I mean, Liverpool probably been the better side of the two, really, in the game so far. Certainly have more of the ball, and it's now very nearly a chance for Dominic Szoboszlai on the right-hand side, but it's eventually going to be a throw-in for Brighton on their left-hand side. So it is now a throw-in for Brighton on the left-hand side. It's going to be Florian Wirtz now to gather, and Wirtz twisting and turning inside the Brighton half, finds Virgil van Dijk, who tries to find Jeremy Frimpong, can't quite, and Danny Welbeck now and then Minter are going to try and bring away the ball, and Hinshelwood had it, and he's annoyed the referee hasn't played advantage there because he's brought it back for the free kick, and that's going to be a yellow card for Ibrahim Konate. That's why the referee stopped the game, and I think Brighton would have preferred him to allow play to continue because Hinshelwood was moving onto the ball and he had runners left and right. It was actually Konate on Danny Welbeck. Danny Welbeck goes down, and so Ibrahim Konate gets yellow carded. Certainly a very interesting opening 45 minutes. Brighton 1, Liverpool 1 the score. And Virgil van Dijk scoops it away. It was Milos Kerkez with the equalising goal after Danny Welbeck had open the scoring for the home side. Chance now for Minter on the left-hand side against Kanate once more. Minter's inside the penalty area, goes on the outside, deflection on it. Mamardashvili gets a touch, and it's going to squirm all the way through now to Curtis Jones on the left-hand side by his own corner flag. And Curtis Jones tries to play out from the back and does, because Milos Kerkez just slices it away and out of play for a throw-in for Brighton. I think that was an important touch by Mamardashvili in the Liverpool goal, because Minter had a lot of space to work with on the left-hand side. And it is now Brighton and Hinshelwood who gather the ball. Pascal Gross tries to feed it in. Frimpong's header is a pretty poor one. And Minter then does gather. And Minter tries to get the cross into the penalty area. Frimpong did well in the end to see it behind for a corner kick. And so it's going to be a corner kick now for Brighton in stoppage time at the end of the first half. And Mamardashvili's touch a moment or so ago, just taking it away from Danny Welbeck. And so it will be now a corner kick for Brighton on the left. Corner kick. So, corner kick for Brighton in stoppage time at the end of the first half. Brighton 1, Liverpool 1 as a score. We played 2 of the allocated 5 minutes, and it is going to be now a corner kick, right-footed on the left-hand side into the penalty. As Szoboszlai is there, drops for James Milner, who has a ping. Then it's stabbed on, and Szoboszlai will smash it away. And Florian Wirtz is underneath it and trying to pick up the loose ball against James Milner. And it is James Milner who wins the physical battle between himself and Florian Wirtz. And so it's a throw-in now for Liverpool on the left-hand side. And it is Milos Kerkez now who will take the throw on the left-hand side. So Milos Kerkez to take the throw. Szoboszlai is going to go all the way back to his goalkeeper, Mamardashvili. And Mamardashvili to Kanate. And Kanate trying to find Frimpong, and does. And Jeremy Frimpong has the ball inside the penalty area now for Liverpool. It is Jeremy Frimpong on the right-hand side. Finds Alexis McAllister, but Brighton have bodies back there. Although they're giving it away really cheaply for Florian Wirtz. It is Florian Wirtz who might fancy it and does, but it's a poor strike from Florian Wirtz into the arms of the goalkeeper. And it remains Brighton 1, Liverpool 1. 3 minutes of the allocated 5 at the end of the opening 45. And so it is still one apiece the score. The free kick's gone in Liverpool's favour. Stoppage time into the first half, and Jeremy Frimpong now looks like the player who's moving not in the way we would have liked. Szoboszlai smashes it long. We played 4 of the allocated 5 minutes, and Milos Kerkez does gather, but he's given the ball away immediately. And Vifa just pokes it down the line. Lex McAllister gathers. Lex McAllister goes down, and that is surely going to be a free kick for Liverpool on the left-hand side, is it? Certainly would have thought so. Is that going to be a yellow card as well for Gomez? It is. TK already substituted off, injured in the game. And it didn't look like a good one either, you'd have to say, for Ekitike. Really felt it on the left thigh, maybe the left knee even. So Paraguayan Diego Gomez goes into the notebook, and this free kick will be pretty much the last of the first half action. So Dominic Szoboszlai will take the free kick on the left-hand side. So Bosley is going to wheel it into the penalty area. And he does just that on the left-hand side. Right-footed, but it's not a particularly good one. The whistle goes for half-time. It is one apiece at the Amex. But prior to those goals, it should be said that the injury for Hugo Ekitike will be very worrying indeed from a Liverpool perspective, because he did look to be in some degree of pain, really, and discomfort when he came off. But we will await to see whether that was a dead leg or potentially something a little bit more serious from a Liverpool perspective. It is Liverpool in possession now with Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo has it 25 yards from goal, just on the left of centre. Cody Gakpo just running into the penalty area, but sandwiched by blue and white shirts. Needs some support now, finds it in the form of Dominic Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai wedges it right hand side for Frimpong. His touch was heavy, and Brighton will come away with the ball. Kadioglu smashes it long. Point wouldn't be a particularly good result, I don't think, for Liverpool in the context of trying to make it into that top 5. When we look at the other Premier League results and the results that have taken place already this weekend, of course, with the draw last night between Bournemouth and Manchester United. With Bournemouth twice coming from behind, and then in terms of today, we've got Fulham at home against Burnley, Everton home against Chelsea. Big game for Chelsea, that, isn't it, given their poor run of form. Leeds at home to Brentford, and on Sunday we've got Newcastle home against Sunderland in the derby. Villa home against West Ham, massive for both. Nottingham Forest away at Tottenham, huge game. And Arsenal and Manchester City in the Carabao Cup final as well. So plenty going on as ever in the top tier of English football. Danny Welbeck's been given a yellow card because he hasn't moved away from the ball. And Dominic Szoboszlai wanted to take it quickly. And he smashed the ball into the back of Welbeck. And so Danny Welbeck goes into the referee's notebook. Brighton 1, Liverpool 1 is the score. Virgil van Dijk now has it on the left-hand side. Virgil van Dijk to Milos Kerkez, and the ball's going to break. Is it now for Cody Gakpo on the left-hand side? No, because Brighton are back in possession, and Milos Kerkez is trying to tussle for it. Gomez was there, and now it's a chance for Hinshelwood. Hinshelwood tries to feed it in field towards Minter, doesn't come off. And so Ryan Gravenberch on the left-hand side just outfoxes Hinshelwood, and then Alexis McAllister does collect, and Alexis McAllister sweeps it right-hand side towards Frimpong. But it is over the head of Jeremy Frimpong. So it will be a throw-in for Brighton and Hove Albion. And they have the ball now on the left-hand side. And the lead that they had in the game after Gomez had set up Danny Welbeck to nod home from close range was levelled up when a moment when Milos Kerkez nipped into very good effect indeed to equalise for Liverpool in the game. Chance now for Jeremy Frimpong on the right hand side for Liverpool, but Brighton Hove Albion are back there, and Verbruggen does indeed gather. I think when you look at the undeniable quality of this Liverpool side, it's not been very frustrated indeed that his side have underperformed, he would say, this season. There's no question about that as well. A real frustration. There's so many, of course, factors around that, as Alexis McAllister smashes it long and looks for the run of Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz with a control, 35 yards from goal. Still Florian Wirtz in possession. He's got Cody Gakpo in support, and Florian Wirtz, who hasn't had a particularly good game today. He shrugged off the ball, and Brighton, through Danny Welbeck, will regather. And so it is an opportunity now for Brighton to come away with the ball. It's been a little bit of a bitty, you would say, second half so far in the game. Brighton 1, Liverpool 1 the score. Danny Welbeck's opener cancelled out by Milos Kerkez. It's Virgil van Dijk now on the halfway line. And Virgil van Dijk is going to bring it forward to Alex McAllister, who turns it round the corner for Florian Wirtz. And Florian Wirtz to Gravenberch. And Gravenberch now to Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones in towards Wirtz. And Wirtz goes back to Cody Gakpo. All of this to the left of centre. It's Florian Wirtz, 25 yards from goal. Finds Cody Gakpo in field. Cody Gakpo was trying to find a way through, couldn't do so. And Brighton will bring the ball away. And are they going to get a free kick? No, they're not. Virgil van Dijk does indeed gather. And it will be Cody Gakpo to try to keep it in play. James Milner scoops it forwards. Wirtz is there to Milos Kerkez. Milos Kerkez to Virgil van Dijk. Then to Florian Wirtz on the left-hand side. Evades one challenge to Wirtz and finds Ryan Gravenberch. And Ryan Gravenberch to Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones tries to feed it in towards Cody Gakpo, but couldn't quite get a touch on it. It hasn't quite been Cody Gakpo's season, has it? There's been another frustration, really, from a Liverpool perspective this season. Just so many individual players haven't got going, and it equates to what's happened to them collectively. And it has been very frustrating. I think there's no question about that in terms of you look at what they've accomplished this season so far compared to what they wanted to accomplish in terms of defending that Premier League title. Hoisted towards the halfway line, and it is Minter who does gather. Minter infield towards Kadioglu. Kadioglu's 30 yards from goal. He might fancy this. And Kadioglu just lets fly. Mamardashvili, in fairness to him, it was a pretty nice height for the goalkeeper, the Georgian, sprawling away to his right-hand side. But Kadioglu is encouraged to take it on. And Mamardashvili just pushing it away. Resulting corner kick for Brighton comes in. And it was Wifa who was in there, Mats Wifa. And he got a glance on it, but could only glance it past the upright. The corner kick was taken quickly. It was fizzed into the penalty area. It's more or less a free header because Kanate and Van Dijk just saw the runners go in between them. Welbeck rose, so too Wifa. And in the end, out of play. So Verbruggen has the ball at the back, and Verbruggen smashes it long and smashes it beyond everyone and out of play. And so it is Herzler who's gesticulating on the touchline. Kanate has the ball and feeds it right-hand side for Ryan Gravenberch. And Ryan Gravenberch now to Ibrahima Kanate. And Ibrahima Kanate just helps it left-hand side looking for Cody Gakpo. But it's out of play now for a throw-in. And so it's going to be a throw-in which Milos Kerkez will indeed take. And Milos Kerkez just has the ball now on the left-hand side for Liverpool. And it could be an opportunity now for Kanate to bring it away. But in fact, Brighton Hove Albion have the ball back. But the flag has gone up, I think. And it will be a free kick now. And Hinshelwood's not happy. It's either foul or an offside. And Hinshelwood, the man penalised. And so Kanate is going to launch the ball away now for Liverpool. In fact, he's going to go short as he to Curtis Jones. He's dropped right back in Curtis Jones. It's between his two centre-backs. So he's the furthest player back, Curtis Jones. He's brought on onto the left-hand side after Ekitike went off injured. Szoboszlai on the right-hand side feeds it down the line. And Brighton now in possession, and Szoboszlai does collect. And Dominic Szoboszlai right-footed wedges it forward looking towards Cody Gakpo, but it is beyond Cody Gakpo, and Mats Wifa very calmly indeed mops up at the back, and the offside flag is up anyway against Cody Gakpo. And I wonder how long it's going to be before we see Rio Ngamoa come on for Liverpool, because he has looked like such a live wire recently, and don't think it will be too long, to be honest, before he does indeed enter the field of play. And the slot appears to have increasing confidence in what we've seen from Rio Ngamoa. Could be a chance now for Gomez and Brighton and Hove Albion. Play 55 minutes of the game. Collected now on the left-hand side, and it's gathered now on that left flank by Minter, who's on a yellow card. His early cross into the penalty. It's a really good one, and it's touched home by Danny Welbeck, and the flag stays down. And so Danny Welbeck's going to lead the celebrations, and Brighton Hove Albion lead by 2-1. Well, Danny Welbeck's not celebrating. I wonder if he thinks he's offside here. But Minter's ball into the penalty area was absolutely superb. I think Danny Welbeck's behind the play, and I think this goal's going to stand. 55 minutes on the clock. Brighton lead 2-1. Liverpool again just sleeping at the back. And Danny Welbeck there to tap it home. And Arne Slot's watching on the monitor. Well, it was Minter initially. He was certainly onside on the left-hand side. And he fed the ball into the penalty area. Clearly onside. And when the ball comes back to Danny Welbeck, well, he's actually offside, Danny Welbeck. So that's why he wasn't celebrating, because I think he knew Welbeck. Now, was he behind the ball? That could be the only question mark in this one. It was Hinshelwood who kept it alive. It was Danny Welbeck who tapped it in from 4 yards out. But the question now is, was Danny Welbeck offside, or was he in fact behind the ball? Hinshelwood, it is 7 yards from goal, who clips it back into play. And they are checking the goal, of course, for a possible offside. So what's going to be the final verdict here? We await to see. VAR officials are looking at the monitor. And Danny Welbeck, was he behind the ball when Hinshelwood gets the touch on it? That'll be the big question here. And it's a goal. The goal stands. It's Brighton Hove Albion 2, Liverpool 1. And Danny Welbeck bags a brace. And Brighton are back in front. Well, it must have been close. Must have been close. I mean, Danny Welbeck didn't celebrate when he put the ball in the back of the net. But Hinshelwood, 7 yards out, has just poked it into the path of Danny Welbeck. And Danny Welbeck tapped it home. Didn't celebrate because he thought he might have been offside. But the player, Danny Welbeck, was obviously behind the ball, and so therefore the goal does stand, and Liverpool are trailing by 2-1. And Florian Wirtz nods the ball on, and Brighton Hove Albion now are at the back and trying to defend this lead, as they have already had a lead once this afternoon, which they've squandered. And so Liverpool will have to find a way to come from the back again. Well, it's been a fascinating game, it really has. I think when you look at the opportunities that have been presented, you'd have to say there's a lot of really poor defensive errors at the back. It's just some really sloppy play. I mean, some really, really sloppy play. But it's resulted in Brighton leading by 2-1. Well, Curtis Jones is down in a heap here, because he feels as though there was too much contact. Curtis Jones is, well, he's making his case to the referee, and he's pointed to that right leg. It was Hinshelwood who went in, and Curtis Jones, Liverpool could do without another injury situation, couldn't they? 59 minutes on the clock. Curtis Jones is going to be okay, I think, here, but he's not happy with the challenge from Hinshelwood. And we're seeing on our monitors here exactly how Danny Welbeck was onside, because he was, in fact, behind the ball. And so Danny Welbeck's second goal of the game means that it is Brighton Hove Albion 2, Liverpool 1. Although there's still half an hour left to play. And well, it's just been a miserable afternoon for Liverpool, hasn't it? That Hugo Katike injury, a goal that they got was gifted to them. And then since then, they haven't really been able to create too much at all. You look at options on the bench. I mean, Federico Chiesa would be one. Rio Nkamo would be the obvious one. But it's been all about Brighton so far as Minte goes around the outside of Kanate. He's inside the penalty with the cutback, and Gravenberg just dealing with the situation. And Frimpong to Szoboszlai. And Szoboszlai launches it long, but there's no one there. I mean, it's Florian Wirtz almost playing as the false nine, which doesn't really suit him, I don't think. And it is Virgil van Dijk to Kanate, and they're giving it away again to Minter. And Minter's gone down, and that is going to be a free kick in a good position for Brighton to the left of centre, just outside the penalty area. And so it is a good opportunity for Brighton to get good delivery into the box, or possibly take the strike in on goal. That could be the option. Jeremy Frimpong goes into the referee's notebook, and well, Liverpool are going to have to make changes here. And Arne Slot, I mean, he knows how important it is to finish in that top five, personally, to keep his job, you feel, and for the club to keep doing what they've been doing in recent years, which is continuing to qualify for the Champions League. So a free kick though for Brighton over Albion, and Fabian Herzl will be delighted at how his side have played in the first hour of this match. So it is going to be Gomez who is standing over it, and Herzl are watching on. Herzl are in the gloves today. 12-13 degrees on the south coast. Mamardashvili organising the wall. Mamardashvili has organised the four-man Liverpool wall. Looks as though Gomez, the Paraguayan, might fancy this one. 61 minutes on the clock to the left of centre. It is going to be Diego Gomez to strike it right-footed. Mamardashvili with the save. Nice height for the goalkeeper, but it's a very decent free kick that from Gomez. And Mamardashvili, the big Georgian, away to his left-hand side, actually used his right arm to kind of punch the ball away. Certainly going in. And Mamardashvili makes a good save with a strong right arm. So throw in now for Brighton Hove Albion on the right hand side, and it's Hinshelwood who does keep it alive, and now Milos Kerkez and Florian Wirtz, and then Cody Gakpo do collect, and Cody Gakpo has it, and he's got to switch the play here, surely Cody Gakpo, and does, and he's got Jeremy Frimpong on the right hand side. Goalkeeper starting position over Verbruggen was very good indeed, and he just clips it up towards halfway. Szoboszlai gives it straight back to Danny Welbeck, who is now on a hat-trick, by the way, and Kadioglu sees it out of play, and it's going to be a throw in for Brighton. It's going to be a substitution for Liverpool, and you know who's coming on. It's Rio Ngamoa. Rio Ngamoa, the 17-year-old, a bright spark in an otherwise rather dull Liverpool season. Predominantly plays off the left-hand side. We know he can play off the right as well, but because Frimpong's gone off, I think this is going to be Rio Ngamoa to play on the right-hand side now, unless Dominic Szoboszlai is going to slot in at right back. We will await to see exactly how that is going to line up in the end. I think Curtis Jones has gone to right back. Konate, Virgil van Dijk still, of course, the two centre-backs. Kerkez left back. Still going to be Dominic Szoboszlai and Gravenberch as the anchor. And then Rio Ngamoa has gone left-hand side. And I assume Florian Wirtz then is the player who's drifted to the right. But it is Liverpool in possession through Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk to Konate. Konate to Curtis Jones, who definitely is playing right back. Curtis Jones to Alexis McAllister and finds Ryan Gravenberch. And Ryan Gravenberch right hand side now to Dominic Szoboszlai. And Szoboszlai considered, I think, the early ball in, opted against it. Szoboszlai now feeds it infield towards Florian Wirtz. It's Florian Wirtz for Liverpool, finds Curtis Jones inside the area. Curtis Jones with the effort, fabulous save for Verbruggen. Corner kick, Liverpool left hand side. First time in the game really we've seen Curtis Jones in a promising position in that kind of area, and he just opened up his body and extracted a very good save indeed from the goalkeeper, and it's pushed wide by Verbruggen, and it will be a corner kick now for Liverpool, which Dominic Szoboszlai will take. Szoboszlai is going to take the corner kick then on the left hand side, and he's going to take it right footed and feeds it into a good area. Goalkeeper gets a glove on it, not much more. So it'll be a corner kick from the opposing flank because Verbruggen got the last touch on it. And so it's behind for another corner kick. And a corner kick which Verbruggen does touch away. And so Szoboszlai is going to take the corner kick from the right-hand side. Dominic Szoboszlai will take it. And he's going to take it now on the right-hand side. Gives the signal by raising his left arm. There's Dominic Szoboszlai and feeds it into the penalty area. And the free header from Alexis McAllister should be 2-2. Should have scored against his former club then, the Argentine. It's an absolute free header. It is Dominic Szoboszlai with the corner kick from the right-hand side. Just feeds it in. Alexis McAllister, 7 yards out. Has to score. Has to score there. Alexis McAllister. And I think he knows it too. because he was in a wonderful position, right about 6 or 7 yards out. Yes, he's got to glance it on, but make absolutely no mistake, a player of his quality, the World Cup winner, he's got to score to make that 2 apiece. So it remains Brighton 2, Liverpool 1, and it is 2 goals from Danny Welbeck that currently me and his side are taking all 3 points as Mamardashvili scoops it up towards halfway. Szoboszlai tries to flick it on towards Cody Gakpo. Wirtz is there. But, I mean, the lack of a number 9 is so telling for Liverpool. And obviously, Alexander Isak with a long injury this season, after having no pre-season as well. And then Yuka Katika in and out this side, really, with injuries. Yes, he scored goals, but he's got a decent spell on the sidelines. And as I mentioned, real worrying one that for Ekitike with the manner in which he went off early on in that first half. Brighton, as it stands, leading by 2 goals to 1. And I think enjoying themselves out there as well. Hinshelwood commits the foul, and it's going to be a free kick here for Liverpool. And they've got 24 minutes or so to try to back an equalising goal. So it is Konate who stands over the set piece. Ibrahima Konate smashes it long, and Szoboszlai flicks it on. And Cody Gakpo likewise, and Danny Welbeck does supremely well. Could be a chance now for Minter. He's clean through on goal. The angle is acute, but it's Minter, left-footed. Big save, Mamardashvili. Probably keeps Liverpool in the game, that. It's a really good save from the Georgian, and all of a sudden at the other end, Florian Wirtz's touch is heavy, and Van Hecke wins a free kick for Brighton Hove Albion. But that was a chance with 67 minutes on the clock for Good Minter to probably seal the game and score Brighton's 3rd goal. Yes, the angle was tight. It's not easy, this. I actually think it's a very good save from Mamardashvili. I mean, Minter takes a strike on, kind of hits the chest of the Liverpool goalkeeper. Lex McAllister, in the meantime, has gone into the notebook. It's a yellow card. And Fabian Herzl has also been yellow carded for something in the heart of proceedings as well. Yeah, I think it was the imaginary card that Fabian Herzl was wagging when Lex McAllister was always going to get a yellow card anyway. That means Brighton are playing some good football, and it is Mamardashvili who has it inside his 6-yard box, and he scoops it up towards the halfway line. Florian Wirtz biting in, and the throw-in goes in Liverpool's favour. They've got just over 20 minutes here to score a 2nd goal and try and take something from the Amex. Otherwise, it's a result that will give Chelsea a lot of confidence going into their game in the race for those top 5 places. And, I mean, the repercussions now for finishing or not finishing in the Champions League are absolutely massive, aren't they? They really are. It is Alex McAllister who has the ball on the left-hand side. He's got Cody Gakpo and Rio Ngamoa in support. Cody Gakpo drifting in field, and everything's to his right-hand side, and one of which is Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones coming back into traffic around about 30 yards from goal. Lex McAllister's touch. It wasn't a particularly good ball from Curtis Jones, and Verbruggen clips it towards halfway, and all of a sudden Minter's got some grass to move into. He's got Danny Welbeck in support. Curtis Jones and Konate are trying to sandwich him out, and Minter's done pretty well to try to pinch a corner, has he? Minter just cups his ear to the crowd, and it's going to be, I think, a throw into Brighton, and Minter just gets the high fives from his teammates. He's putting a good shift out there today. Premier League table as it stands then, well, Liverpool would still be 5th, but Chelsea would only be a point behind them, and that would be a big opportunity for Chelsea away at Everton tonight. So it is now a corner kick which will be taken on the left-hand side. It'll be taken right-footed as well for Brighton Hove Albion. And the corner into half-decent area is going to drop pretty invitingly as well. Not properly cleared by Liverpool. There's a little swivel inside the penalty. Eventually Gomez lashes it back in. And Virgil van Dijk got a touch on it. And Brighton will come again. It's been a good 10-15 minute spell this for Brighton Hove Albion. The substitution of Rio Ngamoa hasn't really changed anything. And I think Arne Slot will feel as though he's rather short of options on the bench as well, because Federico Chiesa will be the only other obvious one to try and change things. Carlos Baleba is going to come on. And so, certainly the frustration from a Liverpool perspective will be very apparent indeed. But from a Brighton perspective, they will be delighted at how this one is currently unravelling, because as it stands, Brighton would go up to 8th in the table. And from there, I mean, you never know. They'd be looking at those above them with 7 games of the season to play and wondering if they could perhaps finish 6th or 5th. You never know. But certainly for Liverpool, this will be a really damaging one after a good result against Galatasaray in midweek. And it is now Brighton who do have the ball on the right-hand side. Virgil van Dijk nudges it away. And Florian Wirtz is struggling for it, so to Rio Ngamoa. Milos Kerkez now to Florian Wirtz, and Milos Kerkez is in a bit of a muddle by himself in the left-back slot. It's going to be a throw-in for Liverpool. You just wonder, when you look at this Liverpool team sometimes, is there enough belief in there that they can get a second goal to take something from the contest? Fabian Herzler's readying a couple of substitutions here. Carlos Baleba's certainly going to come on, as Milos Kerkez gets the clearance all wrong. And Brighton are back in possession, and Curtis Jones goes back to Kanate. And Kanate with a challenge with Danny Welbeck. It's not a penalty. Referee Darren England's got that one spot on. In fairness to Danny Welbeck, I don't think he's actually appealing for it. And Milos Kerkez to Gravenberch. And Gravenberch's trying to release Rio Ngamoa. And Ngamoa has the ball on the left-hand side and slides in between two. And that is a free kick, Rio Ngamoa. I mean, his feet are so quick, you just can't touch him, the young man. And, well, Kanate got himself in a mess and then sort of stumbled into Danny Welbeck. Arm came across, both players went down, but it's not a penalty. So Kerkez has the ball, and Kerkez to Virgil van Dijk. Virgil van Dijk in towards Alexis McAllister. Alexis McAllister in towards Gravenberch, and Florian Wirtz is there. And Gravenberch to Milos Kerkez, and Milos Kerkez to Rio Ngamoa, who tries to take on his man. And Rio Ngamoa down to find Florian Wirtz. And Florian Wirtz now to Alexis McAllister. And Alexis McAllister just rolls his studs over the ball inside the centre circle. And he finds Virgil van Dijk. And Virgil van Dijk to the left-hand side of Milos Kerkez. And Milos Kerkez to Rio Ngamoa, who finds Florian Wirtz. And Florian Wirtz now deep inside his own half. And Liverpool looking to build and looking to conjure something from the game. It is Ibrahima Kanate. Kanate now to Curtis Jones, but it's been the lack of creativity, hasn't it? The real lack of creativity that has been very apparent from a Liverpool perspective. And so looks as though Federico Chiesa is going to be the latest Liverpool player to come on. We know how exciting Rio Ngamoa is. And is there going to be a chance now for Rio Ngamoa? He goes down. And it's only going to be a goal kick. It is difficult, isn't it? I mean, throwing on a 17-year-old when you need a goal just goes to show that Spain has spent so much money in the summer. Liverpool squad is very thin on the ground. It's going to be Minter here to come off with 15 minutes left to play. And It is James Milner who is orchestrating one or two things, and it's also James Milner's going to come off here. So Milner and Minter, the two players who are coming off, both have put in a real shift this afternoon. Both played really well. And Baleba and Matoma are the two players to come on. And for Liverpool, well, Chiesa's going to come on. I think Andy Robertson's going to come on as well. Robertson presumably like for Kerkez. We will wait to find out. Chiesa possibly for Gakpo, but we will see. Possibly Florian Wirtz is going to come off. Well, Andy Robertson's on first of all. And Milos Kerkez is limping off. Not a great sign. And he's shaking his head as well. And then Ibrahima Konate is coming off for Federico Chiesa. So I assume that means Ryan Gravenberch is going to sit next to Virgil van Dijk in the heart of the defence. You'd have Robertson on the left of that. And then possibly Curtis Jones still at right back. So Bosley and McAllister the sitting two. And then you've got Rio Ngamoa. Chiesa is the false nine. Gakpo's gone to the right-hand side now. Has Gakpo just gone off? Well, I mean, it's really difficult to see at times what Arne Slot is trying to do with the options he's got available. I think Rio Ngamoa might have gone to the right-hand side. Here is a chance though for Matoma on the left flank. Matoma taking on Curtis Jones and beating him with ease. Matoma, angles cute, cutback's a good one towards Hinshelwood, but he got his finish all wrong. And Florian Wirtz now is racing away, and Florian Wirtz finds Cody Gakpo, and there's the option on the left-hand side of Federico Chiesa. Chiesa has it inside the penalty area. It's Federico Chiesa, and Chiesa's effort was charged down by Van Hecker in the end. And it's going to be a throw-in for Liverpool on the right flank, on the left-hand side I should say rather, but Liverpool have given it away, and Van Hecker will bring the ball away almost immediately. And he finds now, when he goes to the right-hand side, and Florian Wirtz was there, but there's a foul from Cody Gakpo, is there? Indeed there is, and so it's going to be a free kick for Brighton and Hove Albion. But earlier on, just a couple of minutes ago, Minter just ghosted past Curtis Jones inside the penalty area, and Jack Hinshelwood with a really good opportunity which he couldn't take in the end. So you look at the chances created, you look at the quality Liverpool should have. It's been a poor season indeed, and today possibly quite emblematic really of what we've seen in many ways. And that's going to be a free kick for Brighton, and Dominic Szoboszlai is very frustrated, but Szoboszlai's going to get a booking for that. And so it is a free kick now for Brighton and Hove Albion. And well, I think Brighton will feel as though, especially on the second half performance, they've been good value for this lead. They lead by 2-1. A brace from Danny Welbeck separated the two teams at the Amex. What have Liverpool got in the remaining 11 minutes here? Curtis Jones is filling in at right back now. He came on early on as a left winger, did Curtis Jones, after Ekitike was injured. Gravenberch's now at centre back. It is a mishmash of a Liverpool side. And Gravenberch now has the ball on the right-hand side, and he tried to find Rio Ngamoa, who spent 5 minutes on the left flank, now has come across to the right flank, and Fabian Herzler is gesticulating on the touchline. Curtis Jones now will take the throw, and then Florian Wirtz to Dominic Szoboszlai, and Wirtz tries to go backwards and find Hinshelwood. He wins the ball back there. There's Florian Wirtz. He's looking for something now, might find it left-hand side in the form of Cody Gakpo, and does. Cody Gakpo's got Andy Robertson in support. It's poor that from Cody Gakpo, ran straight into traffic. Here's Dominic Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai has it left of centre, finds Andy Robertson. Andy Robertson with the cross in. Is it going to go to the back post and find Rio Ngamoa? No, it's not. It's beyond everyone and out of play for a throw-in. And Liverpool are staring down the barrel here of another defeat, and a defeat that will be very damaging indeed in terms of their bid to finish in the top 5 this season. Liverpool have the ball now on the right-hand side with Rio Ngamoa. Rio Ngamoa fouls Kadioglu. And so a free kick for Brighton, which there'll be in absolutely no rush to take. Why would they be? Free kick then, which Verbruggen will take. And Brighton are going up to 8th in the Premier League table. And of course we have the March international break to come. For Brighton, really, it's because they're out the FA Cup, not playing in Europe. It's a relatively calm end to the season. I mean, they've only got 3 games in April. They are away at Burnley. They're away at Tottenham. They're home against Chelsea. Then their run-in is away at Newcastle, home against Wolves, away at Leeds, and they end at home to Manchester United. So Fabian Herzler will no doubt feel as though it could be a pretty prosperous in terms of points end to the season, and he might be targeting 6th in the table, really, when you look at where they are. Not impossible, assuming they can take the 3 points today, though. So it is Brighton who have the ball on the left-hand side, and it is going to be, well, 2 changes now for Brighton, and Danny Welbeck is going to come off, so he's not going to get the chance anymore to complete the hat-trick, but 2 goals from Danny Welbeck. First a header from a couple of poachers' goals, really. Gomez with the assist for the opening goal, and then Hinshelwood kept it alive, and Danny Welbeck was onside just about to score to make it 2-1, which is currently the winning goal. And as you can appreciate, plenty of applause around this stadium for Danny Welbeck as he comes off. It's got to be absolutely delighted, Danny Welbeck, doesn't it? Absolutely delighted with how he's performed, especially when you look at the goal scorers in the Premier League this season. The fact that he has 12 now, he is the top scorer amongst the English players in the Premier League. Certainly very good for him and his potential World Cup prospects. Liverpool haven't really created anything since trailing by 2-1. And they got themselves a free kick here, which Szoboszlai will take in the right-back position. Mitoma is penalised. I think the thing that will really frustrate Arne Slot is that lack of creativity. Yes, of course, the injury to Hugo Ekitike early on isn't ideal and in many ways out of his hands, but the lack of ability to be incisive in the final third, a real issue, you feel, for Arne Slot's men. So Ryan Gravenberch in towards Alexis McAllister, whose layoff finds Curtis Jones. Alexis McAllister then trying to switch the play, couldn't quite do so. And Cody Gakpo's now gone right-hand side, and Rio Ngamoa has gone on the left. I mean, the amount of changes that have happened just in the second half alone positionally, when you've got Ryan Gravenberch now as centre-back, you've got Rio Ngamoa who's gone back to the left-hand side. He's only been on the field 20 minutes, Rio Ngamoa. He's played 3 different positions. Rio Ngamoa now on the left-hand side, tries to go on the outside, does cut it back towards Federico Chiesa, and that is going to be a goal kick, and it's a poor touch from the Italian, because Federico Chiesa, well, Ngamoa did well, beat his man, kept it alive, and I think Chiesa's got to do better there. He wanted a corner, he's not going to get it, it's only a goal kick. And Arne Slot staring at another defeat. Verbruggen's going to take the goal kick. Into the final 5 minutes we go. Darren England's running away from the yellow carded here, and because he's picked up enough yellow cards to, well, he's got a yellow card as Lewis Dunk, I think for time wasting. Brighton, though, from this position, will be very confident of seeing this out, because Liverpool haven't created much, although Cody Gakpo might try and change all that here. Inside the penalty on the left-hand side. What's he got where support? He's got Federico Chiesa with him. It's Cody Gakpo who hits it. Goalkeeper makes the save, and Verbruggen gathers after the ball comes back of a Brighton player, but It was Cody Gakpo's effort. Verbruggen made the save. And it is now Verbruggen who plays out from the back, and Baleba running up towards the halfway line. He's got plenty of space to move into, Baleba. And it's collected now by Kadioglu. Kadioglu's got Matoma on his left-hand side, and it's going to go behind for a corner kick because Alexis McAllister just slid in. Brighton 2, Liverpool 1 is the score. And it is now a corner kick for Brighton Hove Albion. They're going to take their time over this one as well. Pascal Gross is the player who's going to take it, right-footed from the left-hand side. And so it will be a set-piece situation for Brighton. Gross is going to take it left-footed into a good area and cleared off the line by Liverpool. Not once but twice, and Virgil van Dijk smashes it away. There's no one up there though. Curtis Jones, I think, got his body on the line. Verbruggen now will play out from the back, and Baleba does gather. Baleba left-footed, sprays it left flank for Matoma. And Brighton still in possession now through Kadioglu. And Kadioglu scoops it forwards. And Brighton are trying to see this out, and they are doing so really well. So Bosley, though, gets a touch in, and Gravenberg is there, and he goes down. That's a bad challenge, actually. Liverpool will be keen to take the free kick quickly, and Mamardashvili, well, in fact, the referee's played advantage there. And Mamardashvili plays it on, and Florian Wirtz nods it down to Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones, right-hand side for Dominik Szoboszlai. Dominik Szoboszlai tried to play it in towards Florian Wirtz, couldn't quite do so. 87 minutes play. Brighton 2, Liverpool 1. And Virgil van Dijk finds Szoboszlai. Rio Ngamoa evades one challenge and finds Curtis Jones. It's Wirtz. Florian Wirtz to Curtis Jones. All this been played outside the Brighton and Hove penalty area. Collected now by Virgil van Dijk. And Robertson does gather. Robertson to Alexis McAllister. Round the corner for Andy Robertson. Houses cross. Stands it up. He was looking for Chiesa. But Brighton had shirts back there. And Robertson Szoboszlai now has it for Liverpool. And Virgil van Dijk goes left-hand side and finds. And Rio Ngamoa, as is so often the case, looks like the man who can make things happen. Szoboszlai is going to take the corner kick. Last minute of the 90. Right-footed from the left-hand side. And so it will be Dominik Szoboszlai to wheel it in. Catch in practice for Verbruggen that. And Arne Slot doesn't look very impressed at all. And Brighton now are going to launch a counter. We'll wait to see how many additional minutes there's going to be at the end of the 90. And there's going to be a free kick. And is Federico Chiesa going to get yellow carded here? He is. Down in England. Mitoma plays it into the penalty area, and it could be Mitoma now against Mamardashvili. And Mitoma again. We've played 90 minutes on the clock, and it is now Brighton who have the ball once again. And Mitoma against Federico Chiesa, who's on a yellow card now. Chiesa and Szoboszlai was nearly there. Mamardashvili was there as well. Szoboszlai to Gravenberg. Gravenberg and Mitoma's there. It's all a little bit messy all round. We're going to have 6 added on minutes at the end of the 90. And so it's going to be another substitution here for Brighton Hove Albion. Brighton 2, Liverpool 1 is the score. 2 goals from Danny Welbeck, giving Liverpool a bit of a headache, really, as they stare down the barrel of another Premier League defeat. Gomez is off here. He's putting a good shift today. Gomez set up the opening goal, of course. So Gomez is off, and Veltman is going to take his place. And so it is Brighton 2, Liverpool 1. Played 1 minute of the allocated 6 at the end of the opening 90. And it is Arne Slot who spent the entire game grumbling and mumbling and talking to himself and the fourth official and anyone that will listen, really. And he's obviously deeply, deeply frustrated by what he's seen out there. Virgil van Dijk's touch, throwing Brighton. And what a boost this is for Chelsea in their game away at Everton later on tonight, in terms of a prospect of a top 5 finish in the Premier League. So it is going to be now a throw-in, and Robertson was there. And it's out of play now, is it, for a goal kick for Liverpool? Yes, it is. Mamardashvili will take it. Really poor performances from Arne Slot's men, but fabulous result if it stays as it is for Fabian Herzler. Played 2 minutes of the 6, and Gravenberch has the ball outside his own penalty area. Dominic Szoboszlai now to Curtis Jones, and Curtis Jones is short of options and finds Gravenberch, and Gravenberch now to Mamardashvili. Mamardashvili forwards towards Dominic Szoboszlai. Is that going to be a free kick? Brighton? It is, because Dominic Szoboszlai had no attempt to play the ball, and he's not particularly pleased with the decision, but Brighton are going to take their time over this one, and so it is going to be a free kick now for Brighton and Hove Albion. And Brighton are in possession, and they have a throw-in on the left-hand side. Well, in fact, Curtis Jones is going to take this because it's a Liverpool throw. And we've had 3 of the allocated 6 minutes. Szoboszlai just scoops it forwards, but to no one in particular. And Brighton, dare you say it, are looking very comfortable indeed. They're the ones playing all the football, actually. And they're the ones who have the ball just outside the penalty area. Gravenberch, though, does emerge with it. Chiesa as well. Chiesa now to Florian Wirtz. And Florian Wirtz inviting Rio and Gamoa forwards. And here is the 17-year-old. Rio and Gamoa goes past his man. That's a yellow card. Yellow card for Pascal Gross, I think, because Rio and Gamoa just did him for pace. You don't want to be caught one-on-one with Rio and Gamoa. And just goes past his man like he's not there. And it's late, that, isn't it? It's a late challenge. And so Mats Vifa it is, rather, who goes into the referee's notebook. Free kick for Liverpool. And given the scarcity of chances created via open play, it is going to be a good opportunity for Dominic Szoboszlai to get the ball into the penalty area. Arne Slot watches on. It's going to be Dominic Szoboszlai now to feed the ball into the penalty area on the left-hand side. And Szoboszlai will... Szoboszlai gives the signal, and Szoboszlai's ball in is a really poor one, and Verbruggen gathers, and Arne Slot does not know where to look and does not know what to think, because Dominic Szoboszlai just put that free kick into the arms of the goalkeeper. And I don't think you want to be in a position where you've got to win the Champions League to keep your job, do you? But that is what Arne Slot might end up being in, as Brighton have the ball again here, and it is a free kick actually for Liverpool, so there is still going to be Chiesa. And Chiesa takes the ball down by the corner flag, and that is going to be a goal kick. And Chiesa can't believe it, but it is going to be a goal kick, and we play 5 of the allocated 6 minutes. And Federico Chiesa's still got his head in his hands, and he's appealing. He can't believe it. But really, if you think about the saves that Bruggen's had to make in the second half, one really from Cody Gakpo, not much more than that. And so it is a very disappointing afternoon for Liverpool fans, but a fantastic result this for Brighton Hove Albion. And looks like they're going to beat Liverpool by 2-1 at the Amex today, as Curtis Jones has a touch on it. Szoboszlai smashes it forwards, but just nothing really in terms of quality for Liverpool going forwards in the game, you don't feel. Chiesa's going to try and chase that one, and Karioglu will go back to his goalkeeper, but Verbruggen, left-footed, will clean it up towards halfway. Curtis Jones is there, and we played the 6 minutes, and the referee's going to have a little look at the watch. Ball is out of play. Is there going to be time to take the throw in? Brighton will hope not. Line. Florian Wirtz is there, and the whistle goes for offside, I think. So it's going to be a free kick to Liverpool. We played 6.5 minutes here as Florian Wirtz is down now. But a bad one for Liverpool there, Sekatiki. And the referee is still not yet to blow his whistle for full time. Mamardashvili's going to take this, and Georgia Mamardashvili does smash it long, and Mamardashvili towards Virgil van Dijk, and the referee has a little look at the watch. And is he going to blow the full time whistle here? Not quite, as Brighton have the ball anyway. So Brighton steaming forward, seeking a third goal. Szoboszlai is there.